I'd like to call this meeting to order. First order of business is to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business tonight is to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Recommend approving the June 20th, 2023 regular council meetings. Everybody have a chance to read those? Any corrections? Any motion, please?
I'll make a recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Review the account balance and disbursement selected financial statements for the general liquor, water, and sewer funds for June 30th, 2023.
Motion to table.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Recommend approving the claims list for June 2023. You guys look at that. Any questions on any of the claims that we have?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Opposed? So carried. To whether to continue the contract with the Costin Group, is that our lobbyist, is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Well,
Do we have other options?
Yeah, sure. Well, they're on a monthly basis. Obviously,
They've been doing an excellent job.
They've been helping us out a lot.
I mean, to me, it's worth it. I mean,
keep them.
yep.
That's the one project that is, as I said, but obviously they're looking at the park, they're looking at other things that they do. Okay. Any other discussion about that?
Do we continue to have them even though we have no special interest or projects for this year?
They're on by the month, Jen, and you know, the only projects I see is what we submitted was the bonding application for the maintenance building. I guess we can resubmit, you know, we're resubmitting, trying to do things all the time. That's the only thing I know about that's current. You know, our stuff got turned on, but again,
We waste more than that. It's worth it. If we need them, I mean, why go through all that process again of looking for another?
Yeah, I think.
If we need another project comes up for another grant or something, I mean, then we gotta go through that whole process of bidding out and.
They've done a good job.
Is that is our lobbyist that is a bid? We bid that out? Or we just hire them outright?
I don't.
We didn't bid it out, I was just talking about it.
Okay. And it's month to month? I'm just asking for discussion purposes simply because, you know, just because you do something doesn't mean you should continue to do it. But again, I understand the point of, you know, future projects and future
Well,
needs.
even if something unexpected comes up, then we need.
they're also a pretty good source, and we should maybe probably use them more in conversation with them, because if we're looking at doing something else, or obviously, you know, where all kinds of funding is and stuff like that too, that's what we do
Yeah.
there. And also we can keep us abreast of what's happening in the capital as far as.
Yeah, we don't have anybody there.
Well, like LGA, you know, that was a big thing. Obviously, they're speaking out for us on that, whether we don't know or not, but there are a lot of issues and stuff, you know, that was a big item that we never addressed before, but they're there. And I know they're talking for us, for our small town, so anything that affects small communities, or affects us, that we do have a voice here, and they know who to talk to, and restating that. So
I make a recommendation that we keep them.
Okay. Yeah, we just haven't looked at it in a few years, that needed to be.
Well, we have a recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right. Moving on then, to allow the Ring Lake Community Orchestra to use the Community Hall on August 12th through the 18th for the yearly rehearsal and concert.
And that's the same thing that.
12 isn't gonna work.
Thank you.
It's actually, it's the 13th.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
It's not the 12th then.
Yeah,
It's
sorry.
the
They come in
All right.
Sunday.
So
Yeah.
that won't interfere with breakfast then?
Or this concert, right? Concert's on the 12th. Okay.
So, yes, I've got it on there.
Breakfast in the morning
13th to 18th.
on Saturday.
Yeah. And there's breakfast on Sunday.
Can we get a recommendation to allow them to use the hall then? through the
I'll make that
13th?
recommendation.
I'll second.
We have a recommendation, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. To recommend approving temporary off-sales license to Cantilever for August 12th. What do they have planned on that?
Rainier days.
For Ranier days, they want us ceremony at the other property.
Is there any, I mean, this is the second one, I'm just asking, is there a limit that we're under scope for, or can we do that anytime? Or is it like 3 times a year, 4 times a year?
I don't know
I don't know
exactly,
that.
but I think they can do it several times a year. I'm not sure. It's-
I was just wondering if we don't want them to get in trouble, or us get in trouble.
Right.
Yeah,
And this is only the second one this year,
Yeah.
right?
and that's a good point. Why don't you research that for us, because if there's a request for on sale, or on sale, whatever the request.
Off-site liquor.
Off-site liquor, there may be a statute that
Okay.
says 2 or 3 times, whatever that number is, or there may not be anything, so. Okay.
And it gets sent off and approved by the Department of Alcohol.
Right,
and Gas.
right.
Right.
So, but if we can recommend approving, and then I can, so.
I'll recommend approval on that.
Okay.
We have a recommendation, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And again, follow that up in case there is something, to recommend accepting Ranier donations from Wagner Construction for $200, Woodport for $100, Service Master for $100, Manual Trucking for $100, $150, excuse me.
Are we sure we want to accept that?
I'll make a motion to accept those donations.
I'll second it.
We have a recommendation and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried, and thank you for all those people that are doing that. Appreciate that very much. We'd like to see support like that in the community. Bring that up, we recommend accepting $6,000 donation. What did you guys do, find that lost Dutchman gold mine or something?
I don't know, but it's like, woo-hoo.
I'll recommend accepting that.
Are you sure?
I'll second that.
Okay.
And what that ends up covering most of the hockey rink expenses for the year, and it covers a whole lot of the expenses in the park.
Yeah, and this month, the extra we gave was going towards Rainier Days. I think we're going to be bringing in for Rainier Days.
Yeah.
Well, I see you've been doing this on a monthly basis coming forward. I think it brings it to the highlight, brings it to the forefront that every month Ranier Restaurant steps forward for Ranier, and it shows what a good organization it is and how vital it is to our community and all the services that it provides, and hopefully we're good stewards of that money. So thank you again, and with that recommendation, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Recommend approving ordinance number 160, administrative enforcement procedures, and that is.
So we have our public nuisance blight ordinance, but it doesn't have a very good mechanism for enforcing it without sort of going to court like we were speaking about earlier. So what this does is lays out a system of fines and also due process hearings. And
So if we accept this, is it put in the paper and
Yeah.
people become aware of it?
Yeah,
Because I think it's a great idea. I read through it and I think it's a great idea. I'll recommend approving it,
you can
actually.
tweak it a little bit, and when you get in the office, you'll be able to review it.
I think it's one of the necessary steps because obviously, you know, blight is something that seems to continue. So we have to follow the procedures that it takes, so we have to get a certain ordinance in place or tweaking that to help us follow those procedures as necessary so that we can address those issues properly and give the right notices and things like that. So with that recommendation, did we have a second?
Second.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. To accept the June 2023 liquor store statements, Ken, you want to? Looks like you're running pretty much right on schedule with last year. I mean, within $1,000, so.
Right.
A couple taxes less than right there. Any major issues with anything? And of course, you know, it's a big dates coming up.
This weekend's going to be a huge day. So on Saturday, it's our barbecue cook-off, and that's going to bring in a lot of money. So we actually have 17 chefs this year.
How
So
many?
17,
I'm hungry.
yes.
Something like that, and it's across the street.
Sorry?
Who you get just for that?
I can't tell you. It's a surprise. I can't say.
That's good.
They come in last minute. I don't want the cooks to know because then they can try to buy the judge. So it's got to be secret.
All right, well, that's great. And so that probably, so Saturday's the big cook-off. What's the forecast for Saturday?
Cool, right? No rain?
No rain. No rain.
It's not gonna be 100 above.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 100 above.
No, we got turf.
Yeah.
There's no rain.
Can I ask how many bartenders do they have on this weekend?
Everybody except for the one cooking. So yeah, they're all on.
I guess we'll accommodate as many right now. 17 seems like a large number when you consider all the things, there's been discussion about how much room.
Well, we had what, 12 first year?
12, yeah.
Might have to move some
We
across
had
the
12
street.
last year.
No, I think with the new parking lot paved, we can put them right up the thing. Yeah.
Of course, Nick will be on, help assist if we have to get maybe some barricades, which we have or something.
Yes.
Keep them all in the same corral or whatever.
And you'll put the cornhole on the lawn over here.
No, that's for Ranier days. We'll have them under the tent before the band
Oh, okay.
starts. So
Okay.
yeah.
I believe you got it covered, but I'm saying, Nick, whatever you have to do, you can help her out.
Yeah, we'll get
That's
all
all
there.
there. 17, that's a lot, that's a lot of people.
That's almost.
My goal was 20, so we almost
So
did
on the
it.
beat, man.
So you figured 20 would be your capacity?
Yeah.
Or
Question on that, do you have categories, like, you know, obviously there's barbecue, there's chicken, there's what?
Yeah, there's a poultry, a pork, and a beef, and you can win first, second, and third in all three of those events. So
I've got one question and two comments. I've been looking at this for a while. The cash on hand for your drawer is only 2,500. Do you need to increase that? I mean,
you know
everything's-
there are.
I mean, things are a lot different than they were. I mean, that thing's been that way for the whole time I've been here, 11 years.
Me too.
Gretchen said it's been longer than that.
There's like certain times, like for Rainier days, it'd be nice to have an extra 1,500 in the cash box, but otherwise, we're not too bad.
So you want to
Excuse
just,
me, why do you need more? Is it to make change or?
Yeah.
All right.
get busier and run into problems with pull tabs or? I was just wondering, that was
I'm
just
close, so
that was
leave
just
that
a
pass
question I
happen.
brought up. Do we need to bounce it up to $4,000? Do we need to bounce it up to 3,500 or 4,000? Or do we need to bump it up? I guess that's something that you and Cheryl can talk about.
Right. I don't know if I'd necessarily go that high, but maybe another
Think
1,000.
about it, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to happen tonight.
How
I
many
think that's a
stations,
discussion we have to have.
when you have that many people, obviously you're expecting a lot. When you run stations, you run 3 bartenders, but different stations or?
Well, we'll have 2 stations for sure, but like with Rainier days, we do a cash box outside, and then we just put the money into the till at the end of the night.
So you're going to have that again, same time?
Yes, yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that, so.
I do have a couple FYIs for you. July, I got some complaints from some people, so I decided I'd bring it up. July 1st, you were probably short 1 bartender, and last Saturday.
I got called in Saturday, I was working.
Because we were having
Yeah.
our.
I came in at 10.
Between that and the other folks, they said some of them said they couldn't get a drink, so I just wanted to give you that as an FYI.
Yeah, I got a call at 9:50 and I was at the bar by 10, so.
I'd like to see
That happens, yeah.
It's probably a good problem, it's a
Yeah.
problem, but, and it's always been since day one, how to manage your staff, and who knows who shows
Well,
up.
Friday and Saturday both, it was 4 and 5 row deep.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard to get a drink. The bartender running her little fanny.
Well, it sounds like July might be a really good report.
I think we're off to a great start.
Yeah,
That's all I got. I'll recommend accepting the liquor store operation statement.
Second.
Have a recommendation, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Nick? I guess, Nick, also that you've got maintenance items, but also goes into the blight issue, so we'll just, go with what you got going there, you know, roads, streets, everything, what do you got?
I was actually talk to you guys about getting, the county's got that blacktop tar wagon they drag around, and they're free next week for like 3 days if we were willing to. I think we have to pay for it to use it, but to go through, we did 3 streets last year behind Badukes. I'd like to go to the other side of the highway, French Edition, and go through all of them and get as many
Crack sealers?
cracks, potholes, whatever we can find if to fill it.
You don't go over there.
And if we can get it for the 3 days, like just get it. We only had it for 1 day last year.
Sure, we got that in the budget anyway for streets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as it, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay. And then also we're gonna go over and start working at the rink here pretty soon. I want to be able to either remove or move that fence that's there, the wood, the short wood one, and put in 10 parking spots right there where that fire hydrant is at. Every year we hit it plowing snow, we end up having to fix it. It's right in the way of everything. The little kid rink could be 6 feet longer, 6 feet wider. We can just remove that thing and get it out of there. Leave the one at the bottom section of the hill and get rid of the rest. We can put parking in there.
Yeah,
We hit it every year.
On the hill because the kids still jump.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah. We'll keep that gate one there and then just get rid of the rest of that wood so we can put some parking in there.
Yeah.
When you do that, is that hydrant, is there some bollards or something posts you can put around that?
Yep, I'm gonna get 4 steel ones painted yellow to put around that hydrant.
Hydrant, yeah. These two are the.
Because we get-
On the vehicle side.
We get a couple people that hit that every year too.
Yeah, that's it, maybe remove something, so. Yeah, that's fine with me, yeah, the more parking, the better.
It's always a shortage over there. I mean, we need it.
Okay. Anything else then?
Girls are mowing away and keeping up with the garbage and
Did we ever find anything out about the fire hydrants?
that MWRA is supposed to be up here. We've talked, me and Cheryl have talked to them numerous times now and trying to get them lined up to do our GIS mapping, to do it at the same time. And that's about like working with the county.
And I suppose, Cheryl, you could follow this up, or Nick, one of you two, out there in the triangle out there, I believe there's 4 or 5 dead trees. That job is probably, there's probably 1 year, I doubt if that job has been closed out. It's probably been closed out, seems like a long time.
Yeah.
But usually a 1 year warranty on that, so those trees, if you call the state, you probably have to do it right away, because that, you know, that 1 year warranty period, and those trees have been dead, and then they get the guy up there and replant them.
Right.
Well, I think 4 or 5 maybe till our.
Yep.
our dead. but that probably still lies within the warranty period of that project.
I'll reach out to them.
Yeah, somebody, but make sure we get that phone call soon, because there is a statute of limitations on that time frame.
If we were able to talk to MinDOT about replacing some of the culverts on the French Edition side along the highway,
I can also,
if we think there was some language.
There's already some there.
Yeah, they hauled out
Three
three.
sites.
Every single road, I think they're gonna do.
Yep, they started at the first one here, they're working their way down towards Second Bridge.
If it's causing our road to fail.
the flares are going to come out, that
Yeah.
hit and everything else. That's another thing too, when you just pay attention to any of the intersections, you know, or cul-de-sacs, like at the end of any place where, you know, the shoulder gets run off on the corner, going down to the thing. If there's any of those, make sure they fill those in with some crushed rock, those little potholes, I mean, and stuff, so just concentrate.
Yep.
Okay, jumping into that, then, you got any other issues then?
No, that was it.
Other than the light issue, no, what I'd like to recommend on this is that the city of International Falls is, they've been quite successful in handling light issues. They have a procedure down, and I'd like to follow that procedure, and if it's necessary, step 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I think we made some, by passing that, that's just, procedure 163. That's maybe the first step, but if I would like to contact I believe it's their fire marshal, and check and see what their procedures are. And I'd like to recommend that we follow those procedures the same, because I do know if it's necessary to, whatever action we have to do, if there's time frames, notice frames, notice of time, notice of compliance, if not, some kind of enforcement, what we can do, what we can't do, and let's try to start getting some of these places cleaned up. And, I see we have one on the list already here of the 3575 ton 415. Address that one first, but also we have that one of Alan Harlow's, Sheriff probably has the list.
I have 19 wrote down on my truck.
We may go look at all of them, and once we got the procedure, step 1, 2, and 3, if it means sending a letter in a time frame or notices and whatever we do, let's just.
I'll get with Jared and the marshal.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and get that, and we'll start following that to the letter, so.
What's the issue at 41, or at 3575? Is it just?
It's grass, it's overgrown, cattails, and it's a big flowage for that entire road that goes out to the lake. That's like the biggest ditch where there's a grinder station across the road, sewer grinder station, and right across from that is her ditch where everything runs from the top of the hill down to that, and it's over your head when you stand in it.
Who owns that property, do we know, or we can't say?
On the right is Jill and Bobby Bradburn,
Okay,
and then left is Pam Ovison.
okay.
So it'd be on her side of the property.
Nick, on that issue, I know there's an easement for that drainage. That would be the sewer district. I want you to contact the sewer district, because along with easements, there's probably rules that they have the right to maintain those easements, as far as mowing them and everything else. Because I know there's been some discussion, she does not want that mowed and worked at all, but the easement that exists there, there's might be 10 feet each side of the center line of that ditch, that, according to the easements, can be maintained. So check with the sewer district, because that probably was instituted when they put that ditch in for that grinder station, or somewhere in that ditch. It's part of, there's probably an easement on that ditch.
Okay. I can talk to Schneider and see.
Well, if it is the sewer district, maybe the county. When they originally developed that 3 points north there, they must have had, a plot. And in that plot, if you look at, maybe you can check that out. In that plot, there may be 10 feet each side of the center line, and then you have the right to go mow that, even though it's on their property, easement control. I'm just thinking that might have control, so.
Yeah, and everything from Harrison down goes right to there.
Because there'd be a plot of that, and that'd be a registered easement if it's there. And if it does show it, then it can't be moved. And Hammond's running on their side, they moved up. And that's on his side, but she didn't want to, so it may be a choice that she does not have, or she may have.
Yep.
We'll check that out, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else we have? No? Thanks, Nick.
Okay, thank you.
Again, on maintenance items, Cheryl, I want you to check with the state, just for that warranty on the trees, see if it's still under warranty. And then, you guys will check on that easement. And Nick will take care of conversations and whatever we got to do. Okay, to review the consideration of the Land Use Planning Commission's recommendations for variances from front yard setbacks for 3572 Town Road 415. Would that be Jake Harris's? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Looking to build a garage here or something, and I see, I've been watching over for about a month, he's been grounding and
Yeah.
doing everything else.
And the planning commission voted unanimously to approve that.
All right. Okay, then can I give a recommendation for that?
I'll make a recommendation.
I'll second the land commission's recommendation.
Okay, we have a recommendation, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you. I guess you can notify me of that then, or?
Yes.
Okay. The next is review, consider land use planning commission recommendation for conditional use permit for 2103. What's that one? 113. Would that be Tim Fisher?
This is the Tim Fisher is asking for conditional use permit.
113 here.
That's right by Bergman House.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 116. man.
Is it 160?
It's just wrong on our,
Oh, sorry, 116?
yeah, it's supposed to be 116.
But it's Tim Fisher, from what I understand, has applied for a variance to start doing, some rooms for some RVs or something in there, is that correct?
Yes, so that packet that's,
Yeah, I read.
is from the land use commission meeting, which was,
In the land use commission on that, I don't know if you're up on this, but they voted 3-1 with one abstaining, so, to deny the use. Any discussion on that?
Mr. Fisher isn't able to be here tonight, he had back surgery, so I don't know if that affects anybody's decision or not, but he wasn't able to be here tonight, but he will be able to be here next week.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that's not zoned for commercial, correct?
Correct, it's
For
not.
Highway 11 is zoned for commercial, but not that far back.
Correct.
It's not mixed.
It's, no,
So it's purely
it's
residential.
purely residential, and he's asking to.
That means we'd have to change an ordinance in order to do that, we have to have a public hearing, and I just don't know if I want to. It's residential, and I just don't think it's.
You know,
it's a good idea.
Lad Kaczynski in the minutes brought up a really good point. He said that if the local residents were in favor of having this in their residential area, that they would use that as a special consideration of going forward and granting him his variance request. However, nobody really spoke in support that lives around, therefore he said since it's zone residential, that it needs to remain residential and he can't go forward with the project, at least by permission from the
I
city.
agree.
So,
We have some folks here that were at the meeting last week, I don't know if they want to say.
Right.
does anyone want to say anything regarding this at all?
We're opening this to the public. Is there anybody in the audience that has a comment on this?
Well, we were at the last meeting and I think it's all in the minutes, I don't know if you read them.
Plus the statements.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, that was the land use committee meeting.
yeah, that's right.
I've read all those.
We were just opposed because of the residential area.
It's residential.
Yeah, I'm opposed to it also.
Okay,
Yes.
that's fine.
There was quite a few that had it on here.
I think that didn't hit it on the head. It's a residential area, as long as the residents are primarily against it. I think that carries a lot of weight.
Yes, it does.
Changing that unless it's beneficial, something beneficial to the.
When we originally did the ordinance, we recommended
Yeah, when those ordinances,
Jameson all
yeah,
residential.
when those first ordinances came out, we had done that. I had just got on the council at that time.
Mhm.
I remember that.
Well, you guys want to table this, or do you guys want to just make a recommendation?
Sure, Mayor, was Tim not told that it's just recommended tonight and it's approved at the next
Right.
council meeting? Is that what happens? I just want to make sure, because
Well,
that's what
we can table this till Monday if we want.
But I mean, if you approve it tonight, does it still go to final approval next? at the
Right.
next meeting? Okay.
This is
I
just
just
a
want to make sure.
recommendation.
Okay.
I think we should approve it based on what's been discussed.
Yeah, recommend.
Approve, I want to communicate this clearly. Approve the recommendation that the zoning commission submitted to us, of not recommending that.
You make that as a recommendation then?
Pardon?
You make that as a recommendation?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
So we have a recommendation
To accept
Mayor, I'm
and
going
to accept the
Land use plan commission's
planning commission's decision on this issue.
And I'm going to abstain from voting on this because I've got family on both sides of the issue.
That's understood. All in favor, of recommendation, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you. That leaves open forum.
I got one thing.
Okay.
I've been kind of noticing, I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but they're using the new ramp over here, but they're parking their trailers and their cars right, like in Cian's property or on the road. So do we have to have a sign or something that says, got to park your boat over here?
There's sign, but we have signage, how are people thinking?
I've
They need to
seen,
put no parking.
I've
signs.
seen 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 people use the ramp, and they are parking just over there. And then I've seen a few that are using it over here,
Yeah.
but we need to figure out how to get the word out that that's,
I can do something on my Facebook page about that, this is not full parking. This is private.
yeah, we just gotta get the information out. Are they all locals? Maybe not, maybe there's.
I thought maybe they got permission, that's what I thought.
I've
That's
seen-
CN's property, I don't see him getting permission.
I've seen a lot of Josh Myers, a guy from Iowa, a lot of guys that have been using it pretty steady. Most local guys, even the guy from Iowa stays here all summer, and they park over here.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Every time. The ones that have been parking over here, a couple of them were staying in this blue house right here. And then the other ones were, they parked on the CN side and weren't from here. And they had no idea where to park over here. We're probably gonna get it for a while until
So do
people
we
figure
need
it
to
out.
have more information over there that says, maybe right by where you put your boat in?
We put a big sign up there last.
Could you put a sign or like even just a simple map, you know,
We put
on
a
a sign?
We put a sign last week telling you exactly where to go. You can put a no parking sign right there, someone's gonna park in front of it in 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
You're better off, sign says park here.
It's gonna, you're right, it's gonna be a constant thing, but we just gotta remind people, because I'm sure CN's not gonna be happy if they're.
We have a giant sign right there too that says everything on that sign too.
Has anybody been using that fish, invasive species machine?
Minnesota Power hasn't put up the box for it yet. I talked to
I see 2
Minnesota
people
Power about
looking
it.
at it, wondering.
Yeah, I did too.
That's why I got it turned around the other way right now, so they can't use it with no
But then the
power.
other day, there was people parked their cars right in front of
See if
it.
you can check into that too, to see if we can get that thing in operation.
I talked to Brock Lindvall, I had Thursday night before I left for surgery, I talked to Brock Lindvall and he said they had 3 people in the office quit for the North Division and it hasn't even touched their desk yet. It's probably 2 weeks out from when it touches their desk.
So not-
So he said probably 3 weeks. And he said all you can do is call every day.
Yeah, that's all we can do. And then if you can put up some signage on that.
Mayor, in regard to the boats that are parking in places that we don't want them to, we can make up something to put on the windshield. and
Sure,
whoever-
further, yeah.
And whoever is there, you know, can put them up.
Like an
We can just
FYI.
Start training people into how to do it.
That would be a good idea. We just need to get the information out, especially if they're from out of town, they don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna take a year or two and then they'll get used to it.
This is being used.
Oh, yeah. I've heard a lot of compliments on that landing.
Yeah, it's a nice launch.
You got any of our floaters out there yet, or is it just that?
No.
I don't think I'd tie a minnow pail that dock right now.
that bad.
It's bad.
Excuse me, Cheryl, have we had any action on a dock replacement yet?
We got one bid from Mr. Howard, which was about 8 times higher than what the engineers bid,
Okay.
which is about 8 times higher than what FEMA gave us, because that's what the engineers quoted. So I'm currently asking for an extension, because it's supposed to be completed by January 2024, and telling them that we're not getting bids because there's so many docks that are being worked on
Right.
all over the lake,
Okay.
and
Are we able to extend the bid period, or what is the, I don't know.
Well, that's what she's trying to do right now. She's seen.
Oh, and extend that, and extend the completion period to
She'll give it
2025.
to you. There's so many docks trying to be built right now, we'll give it to you.
Well,
I just think once it slows down, that's this
Well,
problem.
it just needs to be built before we gotta give the money back.
that's
Right,
what-
right.
Yeah.
If you don't have it done, you're gonna give the money back.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's another bureaucratic little process, but it's in the works.
Yeah, I suppose they'll only pay for it if the work's done. They didn't ask for the money.
We have the money,
Yeah, we got it.
but we have to prove that it's been done, you know, by January 1, 2024.
That's why you want an extension. If we don't.
Well, I could look at something there. I guess we could look at, just throwing this out there, we could probably look at buying floating docks, which are already made, and then, what we could do too, and again, I'm just trying to brainstorm here because obviously they paid some money for that. We could probably buy some floaters, and when they come, if there's going to be a piling contract on the pier, they could drive a couple pilings out there that could anchor all these floaters to it, you know, instead of a crib. We can't get someone to construct us a crib.
I don't think we should give up on a crib dock yet.
Huh?
I don't think we should give up on.
No, I don't, I'm just saying, but if
In the
there's a
meantime-
timeframe, then what we have to do then, but you can't, the same as a crib dock, and if you put piling on, that's the same thing, you know, that's a solid crib, then it stays there, and the floaters would be something that you could attach to the, you know, it'd be similar to like what the park has, but, yeah. But
Nick
give
and
a
I-
call on that and see what we can, and because of usually they're pretty good on that. I've dealt with sets and, you know, some other things similar to that because the lack of workforce and that they extended,
Yeah.
really extended period.
And Nick and I spoke with Nathan Michael, who's the Land and Forestry Commissioner, and he's having the same issue. He can't get anybody to bid on his.
Yeah, I'm sure they're giving an extension just because of
Black
that.
bag, right?
Yeah, the extensions are granted based on reasons.
Right.
And nobody can do it, but that's a pretty good reason. All right, anything else? Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Motion to adjourn?
You got a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, wait.
I have two
Oh,
things.
sure.
Sorry. Number one is, I live across the street from the Jameson dock. Is there any way they can put a bench on that dock? There's a couple old guys that come fishing every day, and I usually run a chair over there for them. It's a wonderful dock. It's just, and it's not used a lot, but it is used.
I see why not.
I don't see why not. On the end?
On the, where, I think
Is that
it would
a
probably be
floater?
a wise, I mean, there's steps downward, but when you're sitting on the steps, you certainly can't fish, obviously, but.
That's a good idea.
It's a floater. It's like a floater off a crib.
So you could potentially, it might not be a good candidate for memorial bench, but you could probably construct something similar.
You can put a little bench there, it's 4 feet wide.
You can build something.
Just build one and
something
stick it
back
down to it.
Yeah, it doesn't
I mean,
have
it's
to
a
be-
nice dock, it would be more usable for people if there were a bench there, that's all. With the bench, my neighbors over here also can attest, a bathroom somewhere around out there would be a real nice idea.
Like a porta potty?
Porta potty. I don't know where you put it, but
I was gonna say, is there any level land?
Right up on top, I could take the skid steer and take one scoop and put one
there's
there.
people that are there sometimes for hours and hours, and I
Yeah.
see things I don't like to see.
Like on the west.
Just saying.
Either side, left or right, there's plenty around there for
I mean, you want to encourage people
We
to
always
come
went
there.
in the water when we swim.
These old
location of the location, if we could get a bench up there, we'll look at doing that. Is it on the end of the dock, or would it be up on the grip? It'd be on the end of the dock.
On the end.
Set on the very end and fish up.
Well, I know they lift that up, would that be a problem?
No.
No? Okay, I
Just like the one down here.
Yeah, grab to see if you can do that. I think that's a great idea. See if you can figure out something, but we have to build another, you know.
We can build one.
All right, thank you.
the porta potty, would that be a possible building?
We got them all,
Okay.
we can try to get them over.
I have one other thing. My
No, you're not getting a shower.
Ronnie, stop it. My driveway's caving in.
You what?
My driveway is caving in. When they put in the new sewer line, I have some pictures I took today. It's 2 inches higher on one end, and it's caving in the middle. It's cracked all the way across.
The policy on if it's an alleyway.
No, it's
if
my
a
driveway.
People are responsible for the culverts in their own.
No, when they put in the sewer system, you came there and that you said it needed to be put back the way it was. And you called somebody on your phone and they came the next day and they poured the driveway. That end of the driveway.
What's the address?
I got the picture right here. Hang on one second.
I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, you will, it's right on the corner.
Yeah, I'm on
Walls.
3646 County Road
Fisher's
21.
Walls.
36 what?
3646.
Tom
County Road
Fisher,
21.
right in the corner.
Was it the sewer line or the water line here?
Huh?
Was it the sewer line or?
The sewer line.
Okay.
And they replaced the driveway?
Yeah. This is where you replace the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, the other end is 2 inches up, and it's crumbling all the way across the middle. There's a big chunk that I keep smacking in there, thinking, See it crack all the way across.
Well, looking at that, I don't know if the city can do anything about that.
The city put it in though.
City wouldn't have put in the sewer line. That-
But no, when they did the sewer line, that's when they replaced my driveway.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would have been.
It was
sewer.
fine before that.
Yeah.
That's Coach County Sewer District, right?
Driveway's cracked up.
Oh, up here, yes, it's not caving in.
Right here, right here.
Right here, it's 2 inches higher, coming out of the garage. Than it's caving in.
Well, I don't, you know.
And there's a big church down there at the dark.
Yeah, and cracked concrete, the whole driveway's cracked.
It cracked all the way across.
Yeah.
And-
That's not uncommon anytime you get a culvert.
Right, there's a
Crack,
culvert,
there's
the culvert's still
culvert,
running.
right? Yeah, and that's what happens, the old cracks of the culverts are ruined. Let me think,
Okay.
Nick,
Nick knows where I live.
what you could do, try to put a patch of concrete on that, it's not going to help with that a little bit. If they're around, well, they're not bringing any cold mix or anything in, are they? Well, if it fits in potholes, they probably would.
Well, that hot mix trailer,
Huh?
just in that hot mix trailer.
Well, but when they fix the potholes, we could probably break some, on that drop off, that little piece that you showed there, we could probably put some hot mix in there and then just run it over with a smooth packer and eliminate that drop.
Well, the other
You
thing.
know, when they'll be out fixing some potholes that, in
The other thing
the
that
next
concerns
few
me
days,
with the
right?
whole spring.
Yeah, so
Am I
we'll look
on
at that,
that
see if we
big
can
hole?
maybe put some hot mix on
Okay.
that crack.
Yeah.
And then just use the plate camper and camper that in, so.
All right, thank you.
Okay, well,
When they're asking about the bench at Jameson Park, couldn't the rec club, couldn't we add that on one? If we got the cost of that? And I was just thinking of porta potties too. The rec club could pay for the one at the park. We can't pay for the ones at the bar, but we could pay for the ones at the park. We get that dollar amount for the summer. The rec club could pay for that. You get the dollar amount for me for the next meeting.
Come and sit on the dog.
Can never get
There's a lot of
right.
people, out. You'd be surprised in the evening.
Yeah.
We're all
Drinks
just-
and the fishing.
It's a great spot.
We usually drag our chairs.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
The motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Took care. Thank you.